What is the biggest corporate scam in Indian history? You might think of Satyam, Harshad Mehta, or maybe Nirav Modi. But what if I told you that a single Indian gold company was just caught in a financial mess involving a staggering 15.15 lakh crore rupees? On 3rd June 2026, India's market regulator, SEBI, dropped a massive 109-page bombshell interim order. The target? Rajesh Exports, a darling of retail investors and one of the world's largest gold refiners. SEBI alleges that between FY21 and FY25, a mind-boggling 99.8% of the company's consolidated revenue was essentially misrepresented or faked through complex overseas shell web structures. But wait, the company says it's all a big communication error. Today, we uncover how SEBI blew the lid off this massive operation and how a tiny local stockbroker was used to pass around 11,000 crores. To understand the scale of this mess, we first need to look at Rajesh Exports. For years, this company was famous for reporting massive revenue numbers, often hundreds of thousands of crores, making it a Fortune 500 entity. In 2015, they grabbed global headlines by acquiring Valcambi SA, a massive Switzerland-based gold refinery. On paper, everything looked glorious. But beneath the surface, the stock market smelled a rat. In the stock market, numbers usually tell a story. If a company's revenue is skyrocketing, its stock price should follow. But look at this. Since mid-2023, after the company failed to file its cash flow statements, the stock has been in a brutal freefall, crashing over 80% from its peaks down to around 104 rupees. Why? Because seasoned investors knew a golden rule of investing: revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, but cash flow is reality. While Rajesh Exports claimed to make lakhs of crores, their operating cash flow was weak, and they systematically refused to put the financial statements of their foreign subsidiaries into the public domain. Eventually, a shareholder blew the whistle to SEBI, and a special forensic audit was handed over to global auditing firm BDO. What they found left everyone shocked. When BDO and SEBI started looking at the books, they realized that 97% to 99% of Rajesh Exports' entire consolidated revenue came from its overseas subsidiaries, primarily Valcambi SA in Switzerland. Now, when SEBI demanded to see Valcambi's standalone audited financial statements, Rajesh Exports tried to shield themselves behind strict Swiss data confidentiality laws. But SEBI didn't back down. When they finally checked the actual, standalone revenue of Valcambi, the numbers were minuscule compared to what was being reported back in India at the group level. Over a 5-year period, the cumulative mismatch between what was real and what was reported totaled an astronomical 15.15 lakh rupees crore. How did they do it? SEBI points out improper accounting practices. Instead of just booking the processing or refining income from gold, the company was allegedly recognizing the gross total value of massive gold transactions that lacked verified customer invoices or tracking records. To put it simply, they were inflating their operational scale to look like a global juggernaut. But the rabbit hole goes even deeper. The investigation shifted focus back to India and stumbled upon a small Ahmedabad-based stockbroker called Affluence Shares and Stocks Private Limited. According to SEBI's order, Rajesh Exports claimed they did massive gold sales worth 11,487 crore rupees to Affluence and gold purchases worth 11,488 crore rupees from Affluence. This single broker accounted for roughly 2/3 of Rajesh Exports' entire standalone business. But here is the catch. When SEBI checked Affluence's actual GST data and total corporate revenue, the broker's entire business was just around 113 crore rupees. How can a company with a 113 crore scale do 11,000 crores worth of gold trading? It made no sense. Even worse, the promoter of Affluence flatly denied to SEBI that his firm ever had any corporate gold dealings with Rajesh Exports. Instead, SEBI discovered a shocking corporate governance failure. Over 339 crore rupees of company funds were allegedly routed directly into the personal accounts of Rajesh Exports' promoter, Rajesh Mehta. SEBI alleges he used this corporate money to trade in risky gold derivatives for personal gains, without any board approval or related party disclosures. When a giant falls, it takes innocent people down with it. And in this case, the collateral damage is huge. Between 2020 and 2026, the number of retail investors in Rajesh Exports ballooned from 22,000 to nearly 2 lakh retail shareholders. Together, they hold over 14% of the company. But there's an even bigger player trapped inside, the Life Insurance Corporation of India, LIC. LIC owns a massive 10.8% stake in Rajesh Exports. In fact, LIC hasn't touched its holdings since 2023. This has now sparked a major political storm, with opposition leaders asking, how did India's largest public institutional investor, the custodian of ordinary citizens' policy money, miss such massive corporate governance red flags for 3 years straight? So, what is Rajesh Exports saying in its defense? Right after the news broke, the stock hit its 5% lower circuit. Rajesh Exports immediately rushed to issue an exchange filing, emphatically denying any wrongdoing. They claim that their revenue figures are 100% correct. They argue that SEBI's order is just an interim observation and that the regulator is simply confusing consolidated numbers with value addition figures and Valcambi's revenue. They called it a temporary communication gap and promised to present all documents to clear their name. However, SEBI isn't waiting around. In its interim order, the regulator has officially barred Rajesh Exports and its promoter, Rajesh Mehta, from accessing the securities market until further notice and has ordered a fresh, aggressive forensic audit. They have also forwarded the matter to the National Financial Reporting Authority, NFRA, to look into the role of the company's statutory auditors. Whether this turns out to be a classic case of horrific accounting confusion or one of India's biggest corporate revenue frauds will be decided when the final forensic audit report drops. But for us, as ordinary investors, this story leaves behind a massive lesson. Never invest in a company based solely on its massive top-line revenue numbers. Look at the cash flow. Demand transparency regarding overseas subsidiaries. And most importantly, if the stock price is crashing while the company claims it is making lakhs of crores, remember, the market usually knows the truth long before retail investors do.